Hello and welcome to today's lesson of 3D drawing for your model railway. In today's lesson I'm going to try and draw this bandstand working through various different tools using the split tool, combine, plane at an angle, and hopefully giving you an idea about how to go about drawing something like this. Right, let's get started. Okay, so let's get started drawing the bandstand. So we're going to create a sketch on the base plane and we're going to use the circumscribed polygon. You'll drag that out. You can change the diameter to whatever value you want. I'm going to go for 15 millimeters, and then you can change the number of faces you could have on your polygon here. So at the moment it's 6. You could change that back to 15. You can change that to 8, 10, whatever you're going to want. I'm going to leave it at 6. Sit that down, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this edge here set the horizontal to the center plane here. Do that, and you can see how that's now straightened that out. Okay, and I'm going to extrude this up, and we're going to go. Let's go for 8 millimeters. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw some poles coming up on the top face here. So we create a sketch on there. I'm going to use the center point circle, and I'm going to what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a construction line from there to that point there. Change that to construction line, and then what I can do is I can put the circle on that line. You see how it snaps to the line, whereas before if I do it on this side I wouldn't be able to snap to anything and make it difficult. So that construction line is going to help me there. I'm going to have it as 2.5 millimeters in diameter. And you can see how that overhangs. I need to move that in slightly. So let's go for 1.5 millimeters. There we go. So that's sitting inside all the way around. Okay, and then we'll extrude that up. That way we can see what we're doing. Extrude. Let's go for 16 millimeters. And then the next thing we'll do is we'll create that circle all the way around. So if we create a pattern using the circular pattern, select features, being that circle, the column, the axis, we're going to use the blue axis in the middle here, then it will spin it round, and then we just increase the number of columns so that we've got one on each corner. Nice and easy. Okay, so once we've got these columns built, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to split this into multiple parts, because I don't want to draw all the fencing on every single side. All I want to do is draw it once and then use the software to be able to copy that. So to split it, we're going to use these planes and the splitting tool up here. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the origin. Okay, now if I look at the plane at the moment, that one would come down the middle, and this one would come across this side here. Okay, so what I can do is create two planes that go from the center point to there, and the center point to there. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to use the construction plane through two edges. So I'm going to select this edge first to the middle edge, click on OK, and then I'm going to split our body. So using the split body tool, select the body, and then the splitting tool is going to be that plane that we've just used. Click on OK. And now you can see I've now got two bodies. Yep, I'm going to hide that one. So now I've only got half of the model. Next thing I'm going to do is create another plane coming across here. I'm going to hide this initial plane that we've just drawn. Do the same thing again, use plane through two edges, select that edge and the center point. Click on OK, and then split body, select the body, the splitting tool being the plane again, click on OK, and now you can see I've got two more bodies. Okay, so body one I'm going to get rid of. I'm going to just use this body 3 here, which is going to be just 1/6 of the model that we're using. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is draw the railings going between the 2 columns. So I'm going to create a sketch on this top face. I'm going to draw another line. I'm going to use it as a construction line going between the 2 sides here. Okay, so that's going between the midpoint of the columns. Okay, change that to a construction line. Okay, and then we can use the 2-point rectangle to snap onto that line there. Okay, I'm going to create it. Sorry, I'm going to use actually the center point rectangle to snap onto that line. I'm going to do it 1mm by 1mm with that's still got construction line highlight. So I've got to go around all these edges now and just turn them back into normal lines. That's it. And then we'll define. So I'm going to use a hotkey now. I'm going to start using hotkeys for some of them. But basically, what a hotkey does, if I press like D now, just pressing D on the keypad, it automatically turns my cursor into a dimension. So I can just highlight between the 2. I'm going to have that as 3mm from there to there. Okay. Okay, and then we're going to extrude this upwards. And I'm going to go 6mm. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is using our pattern tool, rectangular pattern, make sure it's set as features, object being what we just extruded, and the direction is going to be along the side face here. And we're going to drag that across and you increase the number. I think 5 looks quite good there, number of railings. So I'm happy with that, so I'm going to click on OK. So now I've got the railings there. Next thing I'm going to do is draw the rail across the top. So create a sketch on the center column there. So then we're going to go to rectangle, center point rectangle, find the midpoint using those snapping tools, drag it out. So we know the height needs to be 1mm to match the railings. Define that's 1, and then I'm going to define this 15 because that will stay within the confines of the 2 columns. Then you need to define the position of the railings relative to those columns. So again, using hotkey D, select edge and then point, edge and then go to the other side, point. Again, D, edge, point. Get out of that, start again. Right, dimension, edge, point, 1mm. Good. Point to edge, 7mm is fine because that's still within this side here. Okay, press escape to go back to normal cursor. Then we can start to highlight each of the sketch planes to extrude. Right click, extrude that upwards, and we'll just come up by 1mm and change it from cut to join. Okay, so now I've got our balustrade and railings in there. I'm going to put a top frame across the top now. Okay, so to do that, we'll create a sketch on the top of the column, and then we're going to do put something to copy this sketch here, because we could draw it, but we could just use this sketch here that's here. So we're going to use project include, selecting project. Okay, now the geometry and the selection fields are the important things here. Okay, so the body would select the whole of the body, and select the specified entities. You could specify specific things like the circle or the edge of the top balustrade, or you can find in there the railing face or the whole body. Okay, so we're just going to go with the top of the balustrade here, click on OK, and then now you can see those purple lines. Remember an episode a couple back where I said about purple lines with projected points? So here now we've got this sketch from this projected to the top surface, and we can use that sketch to extrude from. So if I go over it and hover over it, right click extrude, I can then, as you see, I can drag that down and create a railing across the top using the same geometry that was here. Okay, so to fancy this up a little bit, I'm going to put some curved elements in each side here. So I'm going to create a sketch on the face of the railing here. I'm going to draw a line across the top. It's going to go 3mm, and I'm going to create a line going downwards by 3mm, and then we're going to create an arc shape using the 3-point arc. Select the 2 end points here, and then you can see I can create an arc whichever geometry I want here by just moving the cursor around. Okay, so I'm going to go with that. That gives me a reasonably decent shape there. I'm going to do the same on the other side. So I'm going to go from corner out by 3mm, and then L is the hotkey for line. So now I can just select L, and that automatically brings up the line sketch. And then again, going to go back to arc, 3-point arc, go from the 2 points, get my snapping arc in there. That's it. Okay, and then if I hold down shift as I select the 2 sketch profiles, right click, extrude, spin this round, and I'm going to snap it to the other side, tell it to join. Okay, as you can see, I've now got that arc shape at the top here. Okay, once we've got to this point, what we want to start doing now is mirroring this round so that we've completed everything that's going to be symmetrical here. So we'll just mirror this in a full circle. So if we do create mirror, make sure it's set on bodies, select the object, and then the mirror plane being the side face, click on OK, and see how it's joined. Okay, and then we'll do the same again. So we're going to do create mirror, select the object, mirror plane, and use the same face. This time I'm not going to join, because if I join now I won't be able to mirror again. So I'm going to create new body, click on OK. Okay, and so if I'd have joined them, essentially I've had the whole thing here, and then obviously that wouldn't then match into this corner. I just need this same size again. So spin that round, and we'll do create mirror, select the body, select the face, then click on join. And then the last thing I need to do is just join these together. So I'll use my combine tool at the top, select the target body and then the tool body, click on OK, join, and now they're all the same body. So there's the start of our bandstand there. Right, so the next thing we're going to do is create the roof on the top. So we'll create the sketch on the top surface here, and then we'll use the polygon again, with the circumscribed polygon, drag that out. We're going to want it the same initial diameter, so we're going to use 15mm, click on OK, and to get it to line up, you can either use horizontal, vertical, and snap that edge, and it will snap round, or you could have used the coincidence and done 2 corner points. Okay, so that's now the profile, so we'll select each of those profiles. I'm going to extrude that up ever so slightly. I'm going to go by, let's go 1mm, just to give it a bit of a flat surface there. Okay, so now we've got a flat roof. We wanted to create it angled upwards. So we're going to use the offset plane. I'm going to offset the plane from that surface up by 8. No, I'm going to go 12mm. Click on OK. Right, once we've got that offset plane, we're going to then draw another polygon on top, but smaller. So we'll create a sketch on that offset plane, and then select the same polygon. And this time I'm only going to have it, I think 1mm will be fine. Okay, so we're going to get this to line up, so we use that horizontal vertical again, snap that round. So what we've got now is a sketch floating 12mm high that's the same shape as this bottom sketch here. So we'll finish the sketch, go to loft from that surface to the sketch, and it creates the roof shape that we're looking for. See how it's all pointed like we're after? Excellent. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a little domed effect on the top here. So I'm going to spin that round so you can see. There you go. Right, I'm going to draw a sketch on that face there, because that's going to go in line with the green line here in the middle of our bandstand. So select that face, come up to the top. I'm going to create a line. I'm going to go upwards, and I want it to be 1.5mm high. I'm going to snap bottom point to that line there, so it's the same height. And the next thing I want to do is the same circle in line with the center point on the origin. So the blue line on the origin with that line there. So that should have snapped into the middle there. So I selected the line and then used the coincidence tool to select the point to put it in line. Okay, does that make sense, hopefully? The next thing I'll do is I'll draw a line from there outwards, and I'm going to come out 4mm, and then I'm going to use my spline point to go between the 2 points, click on OK, and I can adjust the handles to make that a curved shape. Okay, I'm happy with the shape of that looks like. Click on OK, and then we'll use the revolve tool to select the profile, and the axis point is going to spin around this middle section here, create that dome effect in the middle there. Okay, click on OK, and that now joins into the middle there. Okay. So we've got a pagoda now, sorry, a bandstand all the way around. Obviously we need to have some steps coming down. Okay. Before that, what we need to do is put some wooden paneling effect. We should have done that before we mirrored it. So if I select my history tool here and I scroll this back to before we did the mirrors. Okay, so now we've just got back to this 1/6. And I can draw on that face a rectangle, and I'm going to do it. So that was 8mm by 0.3mm, and I'll define distance as 1 meter. Then I can extrude this center rectangle inwards. So it's going to be minus 0.3mm to give us a paneling effect. Again, extrude minus 0.3mm. Okay. Then we can pattern that feature along the bottom edge. Seven times. Let's go for 12. Okay. Yep, looks good. So now we've got that paneling effect. As we skip through our history, that'll copy that paneling all the way around. Okay, so that's a good way to get, if you notice something you want to go back and change, you can always do that in the history quite easily. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is add some steps into the side. So first of all, let's turn that origin off. Let's get rid of the balustrade. So if I select that top surface and then extrude, I can just drag that down and it'll cut all the way down. An easy way to just remove that railing there. Okay, so to be able to draw the steps coming down here, I'm going to draw them as a side profile and then extrude it across. So I need to have a plane at an angle to one of the edges there. Okay. And obviously, because we are building on the side, we want it to be at 90 degrees. Click on OK. Okay, so if I create a sketch now on that side profile, I'm going to draw a line across here. I'm going to come out by 2mm. I'm going to use the coincidence constraint to snap that point to there. I'm going to draw a line along the bottom. I'm not worried about the length at the moment because all I'm doing there is creating a foot that I'm going to work my way down with the steps. Again, going to coincidence that to that point there. And then I'm going to start using that line to come down. I'm going to do 1.6mm steps. .6 millimeters has worked out exactly where we want it. We use the trim tool to get rid of that end bit. So we now know that that's the step profile that we're using on the side. The last thing, as you see, I can't select it. And the reason for that is I haven't completed the sketch. All I've done is drawn this edge here. Okay, I need to draw a line coming down there, and then you can see it turns blue, so I can now select and extrude. And I'm going to turn this round slightly, and then I'm going to select extrude on two sides. No, I'm not. I'm going to extrude. I'm going to come across there. That's it. I'm going to line up with this edge here. I think it's going to be about 2. No. There we go. 3. I'm going to create that as a new body initially. The reason for that is, at the moment, we've got all these holes here where the wood panelling is. So if I create it as a new body, what I can then do is turn that one off, spin it round, extrude this back face inwards slightly, and then if I turn that body back on, you can see it now fills in all those holes. Saves me have to go back and just remove them and create a sketch for doing that. Nice little easy cheat there. Okay, and then we'll combine target body being the original bandstand with the steps. Click on OK. There we go. There's a nice basic one. Now you could go a little bit further if you wanted to. Draw some railings come down here. You'd have to draw a railing up on each one, and then a diagonal railing to match it. Obviously, you can go to town, put some tiling effects on the roof. Whatever you feel's what you're after, what you're trying to achieve. Hope you've enjoyed that little tutorial there. If you've got any comments, please leave them below. And I would really appreciate it if you can like and subscribe to the videos. Thanks for watching.